If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it.
Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs. I know the mainstream media wants us to believe that the WNBA...
Without Caitlin Clark, was it possible to watch the WNBA playoffs? Probably not, considering how few people really did. We're talking about a dramatic drop from 1.8 million to only 161,000 views.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years. Some people get famous on art.
It's not simply a dip, that's a nosedive. Without its newest superstar, everyone is now questioning if the WNBA is really in danger. Due to
from merchandising sales to new sponsorships to television ratings absolutely going through the roof to attendance to sellouts at basketball games to all-star games with record attendance both in person and on television. It is safe to say, North America, that the Caitlin Clark effect has taken over the WNBA at this point.
Let's talk about Clark for a bit. She didn't just show up. She changed the way things happened.
WNBA ratings are embarrassing without Caitlin Clark. 0 games have sold out in the playoffs. Outside of Caitlin Clark, there was not a single game that eclipsed 500,000 viewers. Hell, they weren't even close to doing that. Once she is eliminated,
the WNBA would be dealing with cringeworthy TV ratings and empty seats without Clark. It was all because to her that the Indiana Fever transformed from being an unimportant club to a playoff contender. Can you imagine becoming someone in such a little amount of time? Is the WNBA placing all of its eggs in one basket? And if the basket breaks, what will happen? Because we will discuss the significance of this for women's basketball. For instance, do you recall how the Indiana Fever transformed from a mere squad to a challenger for the postseason? And it's all down to one individual.
This woman is box office, plus she can play, and the combination of the two would ultimately...
But here's the worst part. In addition to changing her squad, Caitlin Clark is completely rewriting the WNBA playbook.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude.
When we speak about Clark's rookie season, we're not just talking about amazing stats. We're talking about numbers that basketball historians take notice of.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
In her postseason debut, Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to score at least 25 points, grab 5 rebounds, and dish out 5 assists. Not only are records being shattered, but new benchmarks for genius are emerging.
We see that. We see the capability on the basketball court. She can shoot, she can handle, she certainly can pass, okay? I look at it from that standpoint and I say mad respect. Are there other players in the WNBA?
Throughout the postseason series, Clark averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block per game. Who else has scored as many goals in the postseason? This stat line is unmatched by any player in WNBA history. You may be thinking, wow, those are some impressive stats, but what does this mean for the league? Now that we're in Michael Jordan territory. Okay, allow me to offer you a suggestion.
With her WNBA rookie season complete, let's see it. Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history.
Before Clark, you would have forgotten that the Indiana Fever played in the league, but now they have to watch TV.
Career 10 or more assists in a game. How about that franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game? Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 three-pointers. She did it in 34 games. Most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever. 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. Wow. That's not a rookie record. That's just a record for anybody.
Clark did more than just improve the team. In an instant, she turned them into competitors.
And the attention that she brought to a women's league and a women's side, if you will, of the sport is just, I think, hopefully going to have a residual effect for years to come.
Yeah, I think it can't be overstated enough, like what she did to bring eyes to that sport. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's just a fact.
But it extends beyond what takes place on the court. Clark's impact goes much beyond hardwood flooring.
Looking at some of the numbers here, when we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
You guessed it. WNBA games are drawing record numbers of viewers. Who are they observing? Clark, Caitlin.
Trickled up to the WNBA this season as the league has seen unprecedented growth thanks to the emergence of a strong rookie class headlined by #1 overall pick Caitlin Clark. So WNBA released a report recently. Numbers are beyond impressive. Attendance is up 156% from last year, and more than half of all WNBA games this year have been sellouts. This year's televised games are averaging 1.32 million viewers, nearly triple last season's average of 462,000. Continuing, the WNBA's online merchandise store has already set a single-season sales record with more than 4 months left in the season, and sales are up 756%.
She is more than just a player now that she represents women's basketball. In addition to basketball fans, Clark is attracting those who have never seen a women's game in their life. When was the last time you saw a WNBA player create this much buzz?
The WNBA has seen record-breaking numbers this season in viewership, ticket sales, merch sales, and just overall growth of the league.
The WNBA is becoming more relevant because to her. However, things become difficult at this point. The league appears to be leaning on Clark because of how swiftly she has developed. This brings us to the important question. Does the WNBA benefit from this? Don't put all of your eggs in one basket, as they say. But when Clark was ousted from the playoffs, the WNBA had to learn that lesson the hard way. Everyone is wondering whether the league just squandered their golden ticket as they face a reality check. And believe me when I say that this goes well beyond just losing a star player.
If we look at this chart for the 2024 season, the Indiana Fever are pretty much blowing out every other team. They are averaging almost 16,000 per 39 games. So this is taking into consideration not only the Indiana Fever home games, but also when they are on.
Let's talk about statistics for a bit. Yes, it's no longer common to see packed arenas during Clark's games. Instead, during playoff games, half of the seats are vacant.
Caitlin Clark, we all know that. They are now seeing that the Clark effect is living up to the hype.
From a draft party where nearly 6,000 people attended.
Look at the crowd here. You can see where she ranks on anticipation. This is amazing to have. I was here for the draft party a few years ago, and it was nothing compared to what it is now. This is amazing.
To the team store, where gear is flying off.
Can you imagine walking into a stadium that ought to be teeming with enthusiasm for the playoffs, only to discover that it seems more like a ghost town? This is where things become very nasty, but that's the NBA's new reality. In addition to fewer spectators, the WNBA is losing money.
Is going to get a rude awakening because 2 million, that click, 2 million of their fans just turned the TV back to the NFL.
The NBA makes about $7 billion from TV agreements alone, while the WNBA needs $200 million a year from the NBA to survive. This is more than a discrepancy. It's a chasm the size of Grand Canyon. Furthermore, I'm not referring about pocket change.
The most dominant team in the league, they can't draw 500,000 viewers for a playoff game. Atlanta Dreamers and the New York Liberals. Again, the Liberals. They supposedly have stars. Remember when ESPN claimed that the Liberals had the new Big Three? Dreamers, Liberals. 410,000 viewers. The other game was the Phoenix Masculines and the Minnesota Lynx.
You could be thinking, well, they must have a plan to fix this. This is where things get wild, so hold on to your hats. Everyone is confused by the NBA's marketing strategy, or lack thereof. To make matters worse, they haven't created a single commercial featuring Caitlin Clark.
Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far, though?
Furthermore, the league's whole star promotion approach is being criticized. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is little more than a polished turd, according to one observer. Oh no. This is a wake-up call in addition to being severe. The league neglected to provide a safety net while riding high on Clark's fame. What does this all imply for women's basketball going forward? Here, we're not only discussing a poor season. For the league as a whole, this may be a pivotal moment.
The WNBA is estimated to bring in $200 million in revenue. Just for comparison, the NBA is expected to earn $13 billion. The WNBA has historically lost around $10 million per season.
Without Clark in the playoffs, the WNBA is losing fans faster than a leaky faucet. And that's a death sentence in a society where attention equals money.
Chelsea Mitchell on here instead of Caitlin Clark? The face of your entire league. You left off this promotional graphic. Again, Kelsey Mitchell.
However, the WNBA had a great chance with Clark, and they could have used her fame to promote other players and create gripping stories that would have captivated people even while she wasn't playing. Rather, they wagered all of their money on a single player, and now they are suffering the consequences.
The ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key. And are they going to be pointing fingers and blaming Indiana Fever fans and Caitlin Clark fans whenever the ratings don't stay the same?
Attendance numbers in New York and Las Vegas last night, they were the same as Sunday night. There has yet to be a sellout in the WNBA playoffs. They couldn't even sell out the 9,000-seat Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut for the playoff debut of Katie Rue. It was the closest they came to a sellout, but it still wasn't sold out.
She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball everywhere that deserve their praise.
You may be wondering what will happen now that the WNBA is encountering issues. You could be surprised by the answers, so be ready. However, we are not only discussing a temporary fix. We're discussing a complete overhaul that might permanently change the game. First, let's discuss marketing. Now is the moment to share the love. Despite the fact that the WNBA has benefited from Caitlin Clark's success,